a guy who probably doesn't drive beaters is Steven Strasburg, who inked a massive extension with the Washington Nationals. Though there is a little bit of squeaker to it because we did hear the detail that he wanted Nationals Park to be open year-round so he could come in and use their gym. Instead of
that's not for being a squeaker.
Instead of working out at home, he just, I guess, likes the gym at Nationals Park.
Well, they've got all the accoutrements there. You can have the nicest home gym in the world. It's never going to compare to it.
A little bit being a squeaker. He wants to go and work out on the Nationals dime, and I don't blame him. Of course you would want to do that.
I don't think it's. I think it's they have everything you need.
Yes, they have all of the bells and whistles.
He can afford an amazing. He could probably afford the same gym at home,
sure
but most people don't have gyms to that extent.
Right. But anyway, the press conference was yesterday at Nationals Park with Steven Strasburg, Mike Rizzo, Scott Boras. Am I missing any of the principal players there?
Well, those were the guys there that's sitting at the desk. But I believe Max was there.
Yeah,
Max was
Scherzer
like in the front row
as well.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. Amazing time for him. He talked about how excited. They kept referring to him as a national for life. So that would be great. If it actually plays out that way.
I did like if you saw any of the video, the new Nats logo, the World Series champs logo that was behind him on the backdrop. The logo is kind of silly. It's got the capital incorporated into it.
Do they have hats with said logo?
I would imagine at some point they'll be churning those out. Yes, I would think.
He was also on with Grant and Danny yesterday.
Yeah, I heard some of that.
You want to hear him talking about why coming back to the Nats meant so much to him?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think the city has grown on me, and I think you can't really comprehend what, winning a championship to a city like D.C. is until you kind of live it. One of the things that we preached in the clubhouse was family, and I think in a bigger perspective, the city has really pulled behind us and as a group of guys and as a fan base, and I think that's something that, you want to be a part of.
Yeah, what struck me is he's really family-oriented.
Definitely.
And everybody with a family is. But he's really tuned into, like, his kids. Like, his oldest is now starting school. She loves it. She loves her friend group. And he talked about, I'm not sure if you have the clip there, he talked about his comfortability with the clubhouse, with the staff, with, the people, the locker room. And that was important to him. It always just kind of struck me, and it's not wrong, but, like Rendon is just a different cat. It's not as important to him necessarily. Like, you would think maybe the tug of some of the people that he's worked with over the last decade or so that would have an impact on him.
Right.
Anthony just punching a clock going to work.
Seems that way.
More of that kind of guy.
Yeah.
As reserved as I am to a lot of people, or maybe from the outside looking in, the people in the clubhouse is such a huge factor for me. It feels like home. It really does. Being able to come into the clubhouse and be in this environment is something that, I cherish, and that's really important to me. And, that was a huge deciding factor in this process.
And, he also touched on his maturing here that, he got married here as a Nat. He had his kids here as a Washington National. So it feels like home to him now, and that pull is something that kept him here.
Massive. I love it. And he's going to be embraced. And I think Grant talked about it at the end of their interview with him. Zimmerman's going to be a Nat for life too. But I think Zimmerman's going to fall short of the Hall of Fame. Strauss got a chance to go to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
To
do it all in one uniform.
And I think Max Scherzer's going to the Hall of Fame too, but he's not a lifelong Nat.
Right.
Doesn't make him any less beloved. But it's just so rare to play your whole career with one team.
Right.
And Strauss, if he stays healthy, I think is on a Hall of Fame trajectory. So pretty unique, pretty freaking cool. And it's awesome to have him locked and loaded for the next 7 years. So Nats fans, I think, have to be ecstatic about it. And, there was no news like overnight, right, on the Donaldson front?
Nothing that I've heard. I don't think there's been any movement on that yet.
Right. I don't know who are the big bidders that they're having.
Sounds like the Braves are still in the mix.
Braves. The Nats could certainly afford to outbid everyone. It's just, does he want to pick up his stakes?
Not
and
having
move
to
again?
stroke the check to Rendon, it gives you some financial flexibility.
It is kind of annoying that we all we dealt with the Bryce deal with the idea that we're losing Bryce because we're going to use that money to keep Rendon.
Right.
And that didn't really happen,
No.
obviously. But by the same token, I don't think the Nats really anticipated Strauss opting out and adding $150 million or whatever he added to his deal.
Well, you know what? That's what happens when you go on a World Series heater and you're the World Series MVP.
Bryce is doing business for being that caliber of a team.
Give credit to his agent. Give credit to Scott Boras for working that into his deal.
Right.
Why wouldn't you take advantage of that to make more money?
Well, I heard that Boras gets 5% of his contracts. So he's made about $50 million this
Just
this offseason.
Right.
Because his big three or four clients have generated over $1 billion.
Yeah.
In their so he's his share of that, right? Am I right?
Sounds about right.
5% of $1 billion is $50 million.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice little that's a nice chunk that he's getting.
Yeah.
And he's getting it for a lot of guys that are in the league that make big dollars.